His name is Abu Abdullah Muhammad bin Idris Al-Syafi'i. Who is the person? He is the Imam who is related to the Prophet Muhammad SAW, as he belonged to the Quraysh tribe of Bani Muttalib, which was the sister tribe of the Bani Hisham, the tribe of Prophet Muhammad. Imam Syafi'i, also known as Shaykhul al-Islam, which is one of the 4 great Imams of Sunni schools of law. He is also the author of several prominent works in the field. He has been titled Nasir al-Hadith, which means the defender of Hadith. Imam Syafi'i was born in the year 150 after Hijrah, in Gaza, Palestine. It was actually the same year in which the great Imam Abu Hanifah had passed away. He lost his father during infancy and was raised by his mother under very poor circumstances. Historians and scholars, ancestry and hadith experts agree that Imam Syafi'i descended from pure Arabic. Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim had testified with validity that he is in the lineage of the Prophet. The father of Imam Syafi'i died in Asham while he was still in his mother's womb. His mother migrated to the Mecca when he was 2 years old. When he was 9 years old, he had memorized the 30 juzuk of Al-Quran. At the age of 15, he was permitted to give a fatwa in front of the community and served because of his intelligence and became mufti in the Haram Mosque in Mecca. When he was 19 years old, he had already understood the contents of Kitab Al-Muwatta, the book of Imam Malik. Shortly afterwards, he straightaway memorized it. The book of Al-Muwatta contains the hadith of Rasulullah SAW, compiled by Imam Malik. When he was 20 years old, he went to study at Imam Malik's place in Medina, after which he went to Iraq, Persia, and eventually returned to Medina. At the age of 29, he went to Yemen to seek knowledge. When Imam Syafi'i was in Yemen, he was appointed as the secretary of the governor in Yemen. At this moment, many people defamed him. One time, Sultan Harun al-Rashid was angry with the Shiites because they tried to conquer the Abbasid power. Then came the Sultan's letter from Baghdad stated that Imam Syafi'i was one of the Shiite leaders. He was then arrested. With his worst condition as both legs were tied up with a chain, Imam Syafi'i went and met the Sultan. He was questioned by Khalifa Harun al-Rashid. However, he managed to answer all the questions wisely, then he was released. His early education was marked by poverty because of which his mother could not afford to pay the fees for his education. His mother could not buy him a paper due to her poor circumstances, so he would only use bones, stones, and even palm leaves for his writing. But his teacher was so impressed by his abilities, so he took him on as a former student on a complimentary with no fees basis. Imam Syafi'i spent his formative years acquiring religious education in the cities of Mecca and Medina. According to some sources, he memorized the Quran by the age of 7, and some said at the age of 9. And when he was 15, he had accumulated such depth and thoroughness of Islamic knowledge that the Mufti of Mecca of that time authorized him to issue fatwas, which is the religious edicts. He is a noble and an ambitious man. He strives diligently in seeking knowledge. He is modest in all aspects, whether in behavior, dressing, and even eating habits. He is also a wise man who speaks to himself in spite of his punishment. He always respected and honored all his teachers who taught him. He is a very generous man as he always helped people who need help.
What have he accomplished? His teaching spread in the 19th century. He will later learn that the new Caliph of Baghdad, Al-Ma'mun, held some very unorthodox belief about Islam and was known to persecute anyone who disagreed with him. And as a result, in 814, Imam Syafi'i made his final move, this time to Egypt, where he was able to reform his studies. Baghdad, Cairo, and Hijaz were the main centers of the Shafi'i's activities, and it was from these cities that his teaching spread in the 19th century. The second accomplishment is expertise in fiqh. The intelligence of Imam Syafi'i in fiqh has outshined all the other teenagers during his teenage years. He had been granted by Muslim bin Khalid al-Zanji to give fatwa when Imam Syafi'i was only 15 at the time. He had mastery of the Quran and also a deep understanding of the hadith that make him a mufti to give a fatwa regarding halal and haram. Did he produce any literary works? Yes, he did. He authored more than 100 books during his lifetime. Some of the book is Al-Risalah. It is a book that contains about the Islamic jurisprudence known as Usul Fiqh. The method of excavation for the Islamic law in the book was systematically structured. The second one is Kitab al-Umm. It contains all the writings in the Syafi'i sect, and it discusses various issues with its argument using the Quran, Sunnah, Ijma' and Qiyas. Imam Syafi'i was known for his Syafi'i school of thought. Muhammad bin Idris was known as one of the famous four imam in the school of thought. Syafi'i school of thought was placed at the second most practiced sect next to Hanafi school of thought. Malaysian Muslim practiced the sect of Syafi'i as he was known for his mastery in interpreting the law stated in the Quran and his deep understanding in the Quran, Hadith and also Arabic language. The Muslim viewed him as someone credible in giving out fatwa or hukum. That was the reason why some countries like Malaysia, Thailand and Indonesia still practicing the Syafi'i school of thought till this day. Imam Syafi'i works is still relevant today through education. In Malaysia, education was based on the sect of Syafi'i. It was taught at the school in the subject of Sharia and also at the mosque, which is when they are giving the tazkirah. The sect of Syafi'i become the principle of knowledge for the community to live according to the Quran and also Sunnah. His work is still relevant today through law and fatwa. State authorities have taken steps more clearly to adopt Syafi'i sect in the state fatwa. As example of the Administration of Islamic Law Federal Territories Act 1993 provides the Section 39 in the issuance of any fatwa under Section 34 or any opinion under Section 38, the mufti shall normally be in accordance with the view that are accepted by Syafi'i sect. And this shows how the works of Syafi'i are prioritized first in education as well as the legislation rather than the other sect in Malaysia today.
Imam Ahmad was one of his students and he was influenced by his teacher, Imam Syafi'i. He learned Islamic law from Imam Syafi'i. Imam Syafi'i once said about Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, I left Baghdad and did not leave behind me anyone more virtuous, more learned, more knowledgeable than Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Ahmad ibn Hanbal was a leading scholar in many fields such as hadith, fiqh, Quran, asceticism, in piety and in knowledge of Sunnah.